Hey everybody, Shane here. Hey, look, you've heard me talking about my friends at Joseph Meyer Club, and I want you to go over, check them out at josephmeyerclub.com today and try out their brand new aftershave. And if you use my promo code RPPJMC20, you can try it today with 20% off. So just enter that code at checkout. Again, RPPJMC20. At checkout at josephmeyerclub.com. And it's a great product. I've been using it myself and I love it, and it smells great. And so check it out and for all your aftershave needs. Again, josephmeyerclub.com. Follow them on Facebook as well for more information. And tell them Shane sent you. Thanks, everybody. Hey everybody, Shane Presley here with Rock Paper Podcast. Let me tell you about my friends at Naked Vine, located at 1624 Clarkson Road in Chesterfield, Missouri, serving up all your favorite wine, whiskey, tequila, and local craft beers, and great live music always over there. Come by, check it out. Thursday, February 7th, Phil and Carson of the Scandaleros over there. Big Mike Aguirre stops by Friday, February 8th. And Diesel Island returns Saturday, February 9th. And I will be back out at Naked Vine with my singer-songwriter storytelling showcase on February 12th, Tuesday night, with my good friends Ryan Cheney of Fivefold and Steeples, Matt Hall of Inner Outlines, and Gabe Stroop of Skyburnt White. And that's a 7 o'clock start, $5 at the door. So come on out to that. You can find all these listings and more at nakedvine.net. Be sure to check it out. Follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and get involved. Come on out. Have a good time at Naked Vine. I'll see you there. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the show.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
This is Mother Stutter, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast, y'all.
Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Mother Stutter. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is exciting. I'm excited to be here hanging out with you, getting to talk about all things Mother Stutter. And we got a big video release party coming up. We got a lot of things happening for you. And so I thought this would be a good time for us to officially meet. I know we've been friendly for a bit, and we kind of run into each other before. But like, this is our first time really getting to have a nice conversation and get to talk about what you've been up to and stuff. So again, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
So I guess I always kind of like to start at the beginning, get a little backstory. I know you said you grew up around St. Louis, right?
Yeah, I've been here all my life up to this point. Moved around a lot when I was younger and have sort of covered most of St. Louis so I've lived all over St. Louis, but never outside.
Right. That like I said, it's always been home for me. I do live a little outside of the city, but I enjoy it right here in calling St. Louis home, but it's really all I know. But like I don't know that I really want to go anywhere else. Just haven't really had any reason to want to look elsewhere.
Yeah, I've dreams of moving to another city at some point, but I always kind of find a reason to stay.
Sure. It is cool, like, to see a lot of people moving to St. Louis today, like, for our music scene and stuff. I think that's very exciting that people are taking notice to what we have going on and wanting to be a part of it. So
yeah.
So that's really cool to me. Like, I'm just a small part of it, but I feel like that's a giant compliment to what we have going on in our city, that people noticing and want to come be a part of it all.
Yeah, it's awesome that they're seeing St. Louis as an opportunity like that they, they're attracted to what we're doing.
Yeah, I was telling you about
a friend just recently met, and she just recently moved here, and I was she didn't say it exactly, but I kind of picked up, like she mentioned, that there wasn't a lot of venues and stuff where she was at, and so for here in St. Louis, we do have live music happening, and there's a lot of venues supporting live music everywhere, so there's a lot of opportunities. So it's good opportunities to get involved in all over the city and county and everything else, the greater St. Louis area. So I do think we have something really special happening here.
Yeah, and it always feels like St. Louis is kind of the scene, like the music scene here is growing more and more every year to where it's just getting better and better. And
yep. So you, when do you start to kind of discover music? Is that pretty young?
Yeah, I started listening to music when I was a kid. I was in, vocal lessons since I was very, very little. And I started really kind of developing my own taste in like the days of LimeWire back in the day. Sure. And I would just sort of...
where everybody legally downloaded music.
Right. Well, I've always like had this thing where I don't sleep well. I never have. And I would just watch like old infomercials late at night, and I would see infomercials for like those doo-wop compilations. Oh, yeah. and like
Time Life classics and stuff.
Yeah. And I would be like, well, I like this. And so I would just like see a thing for like, I don't know, Papa Loves Mambo, and then I'd like download it on LimeWire, or see like, a thing for Billie Holiday listed, and be like, oh, well, I enjoyed that, so I'm just going to download everything that says Billie Holiday on LimeWire. Yeah. So my mom's probably not happy about that, because we definitely do not have the same computer. Right. It's crashed many a times, but...
I think many people killed their computers back in those days with that stuff. Like, I don't know why it was so, like, it was just so infested with like viruses and things. And but you just had to be smart what you were clicking on sometimes. And I think a lot of people just were like, yeah, okay, that sounds good, and like just click on whatever. But
I had no concept of it back then. I had no idea that like there was even anything wrong with it. I was just like, yeah, this is just what you do.
Sure. That that was kind of where, for me, what kind of started it too was like in around that time, Napster and stuff too. And I was making a lot of mixed CDs, but I was discovering a lot more stuff. Like I had an idea of like some of the things I like, but I discovered a lot of more underground, different music that wasn't as as popular, but I loved it equally and stuff. And like, so that was kind of the fun thing too, just kind of just tapping into my own sense of music taste and stuff. And so shout out to Napster and LimeWire for helping us out with that. But yeah, those were the days for sure. That a lot of good music out, and that was like kind of Spotify, I guess, is kind of doing that now, where you have like I guess it's a little more of a legal version, I guess, where you can pay $10 a month and have everything. But like the way that Spotify kicks up like a lot of suggested artists and different things like that, they'll link you to different things that you might like. And
right. It's pretty cool, because nowadays you can get music for free pretty much anywhere. There are definitely artists who have exclusive agreements with like Tidal for releases, or like exclusively for iTunes for releases and stuff. And it's definitely nice when, as a musician, you can get paid, but it's also really nice to be able to discover things. And like on YouTube, you can just, go down a dark hole of suggested video after suggested video, and sort of like figure out some random indie band over in Minnesota that you never would have heard of otherwise. Yeah,
that's one of my absolute favorite things, is like just stumble upon something like that and then just like fall in love with what they're doing. It's like, man, where's this been? Like, how come,
where's this been my whole life?
Yeah, so.
Also, it's like nice with SoundCloud, and because I know like ever since SoundCloud started to be a real thing, I would just like make playlists and be like, who's this random artist that's got 3 followers and doing a, piano-based song that maybe not the best sound quality, but it's like, oh, this is a good song. I could listen to your stuff.
Sure. Yeah. That. So you're a young girl jamming some Billie Holiday and stuff, and then you kind of, that's sort of the inspiration to wanting to do your own stuff, or?
Well, I was a music lover for a long period of time, and when I was younger, I was kind of into musical theater, and that was more where I saw myself going. When I was a kid, I thought that I was going to be doing theater for a long period of time, and in the meantime, like I said, I was just in love with discovering new music. I was in love with trying to find stuff that nobody else was listening to, and my music tastes really expanded, and I started out really loving jazz classics, and eventually started to kind of get into classic rock and blues, and eventually moved on to grunge rock, Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all that, Bikini Kill and
Yep.
classic punk, and
you are wearing your flannel today to
I am wearing my flannel
channeling
today.
your grunge today.
That I am. But yeah, I mean, I just sort of fell in love with music of all sorts. I'm not much of a country fan, but everything else I could get my hands on, I was just like, I want to give this a chance and figure it out.
Yeah. When do you start writing your own stuff? Like, when is that?
I started writing, and I'm not always good with timelines, but I'm pretty sure it was about 3.5 years ago.
Wow.
I got sort of tired of having other people tell my story for me. As a woman in theater, it's just a lot of, men writing these women characters. And a lot of people that you're working with have a certain perspective about how they should be represented. And I was just like, you know what, I want to tell my own story. So I got myself a cheap little plunky Casio keyboard, and I just got a bunch of books on piano and started messing around with that and writing. And it wasn't really for anything other than the fact to do it. Mm-hmm. I would just post random videos of it, and they weren't the greatest, but it wasn't for anyone but me. And I don't know, I fell in love with it and kind of kept it to myself for a few years.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the case with a lot of it. I think there is a big, it's definitely a personal thing, but then like a lot of people are between stage fright or whatever it is, there's a lot of people that are afraid to take it out of the basement or wherever, like that they're comfortable there, and then like it's hard for them to want to make take it to the stage or wherever, an open mic and things like.
For sure.
Which I get, like it's scary.
It is. It was, for me, it was like, these things were kind of precious to me. Mm-hmm. And also, when I was doing theater as an actress, it wasn't necessarily stage fright, but I had like fugue states from anxiety, because I was really starting to, I have a panic disorder, and I would be on stage panicking, but you can't just walk off stage because you're afraid. So I wanted to keep the music sort of as my safety zone, where it wasn't, necessarily for anyone but myself, and it was such a comfortable place for a long period of time, and it was an outlet for that I had experienced.
When do you finally get out to perform live?
Well, my friend Bernadette was dragging me to open mic nights. We would go to, I think the first one was when Cree was doing the Atomic Cowboy open mic night. And she would just be like, well, you're going to perform now. And eventually we started going to Venice open mic nights too, and I kind of and I didn't really want to perform, but you know, we would get a little tipsy, and then she would be like, "Surprise, I signed you up," or like, "Surprise, I told the host that you're going up tonight, so here you are."
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I started performing, and I would share little bits of my songs with Benny and a few people that I, you know, was close to. And Benny was just like, "Well, we should start a band." And then we did, and we started playing together, and it just clicked.
Yeah.
It just felt really good to, you know, flesh out the music.
Yeah. Well, that's I mean, that's pretty crazy that you only, like you said, like 3.5 years of even doing this, like, you know, music wise, or, you know, really performing out, or even writing and stuff. But like the songs that you've written and already what you've accomplished, like I think that's pretty remarkable.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like a lifetime in the making.
Right.
Where it's like I had all these pieces of it, and you know, I was training vocally, and then I decided to take on performance, and this and that all just sort of like came together, and it was like, oh, this is what makes sense, is you just put those pieces together. And
yeah. Well, let's give them a little sneak peek of what you've been up to. Let's start with I think this is the first one I started taking notice, was a tune called "Love on Purpose," and that was the first single released, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I don't remember exactly how I don't know if I met. I guess being that I'm, you know, pretty involved, I started trying to follow people, and I guess that's where I started. I think I must have started following you on Facebook and noticed that song came out, and but I really dig this. So, like, this one was like and it's kind of got a cool little funkier side to what you do, and I don't know, kind of took me back a little bit to, like, I think kind of in more of a 90s vibe to it almost, and
it does a little bit.
Yeah, but this was kind of fun. Like, so again, this is "Love on Purpose."
There are stories of men who love you in public. I swear I've seen it with my own two eyes. I'm really good at keeping quiet. Daddy lived a double life. 3 daughters and a wife, left home alone. There were other girls who earned his time. He never saw what I'd become, but I hear love is blind. They say you
But again, that's all out there available digitally everywhere. Wherever you're getting your music, you can head over and check that out. But we do have some new stuff that you've been working on. We have a brand new video coming out, like I mentioned earlier. So let's talk about Sweeter Skin and this party. We have a big video release party happening February 14th.
That's right, on Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, yep. At the Monocle there in the Grove. And 9 p.m. start. And you're bringing along your friend's bounce house.
Yeah, that I am.
So that's going to be a fun night. So bounce house open up, and then Mother Stutter and the Twisted Tongues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my band with me that day for sure.
Nice. So let's talk about this evening. This is I'm guessing both of you guys are, like I said, both bands playing live, and then doing a premiere.
Yeah, we're going to be showing the music video that night. I'm very, very excited about it. I worked with Seth Donnelly. He approached me after I released my single, Sweeter Skin.
I grew so fond of distance. I started dating roads. I laid with wet cement. I bleached white my clothes. I made myself your mistress, knowing you loved another. You've got someone who loves you, but can I still come over? Can I still come over? Can I still come over? Sinking into sheets that are already warm, with sweat from sweeter skin than the skin that I have on. Swallowed by a bedroom mattress made of quicksand, always stolen kisses. I tried cutting off my hands. My eyes became an ocean, my throat a waterfall. I was chipping teeth from smiling through it all. I made myself your mistress, knowing you loved another. You got someone who loves you. Can I still come over? Can I still come over? Can I still come over? Sinking into sheets that are already warm, the sweat from sweeter skin than the skin that I have on. I would have held you sober, I'd love you with the lights on, but it's a foolish mistress who thinks that she's the only one. You know I can't remember last time this felt like love. Have we just been pretending? Is that what everybody does? Sinking into sheets that are already warm, the sweat from sweeter skin than the skin that I have on.
And he's just been a dream to work with. He's very talented, and everybody who worked on this video was just such amazing people. There was just a good vibe from everybody that you meet, you know. I feel like you have a good intuition about people, and sometimes if you're surrounded by some people who aren't really passionate or invested in it, it can kind of taint the whole experience. But it was just honestly insanely inspiring the whole time.
You get to do much show off any of those acting chops, or
There's definitely some performance going on in this
Wow.
video. I have a lot of fun with performing in general. I like to get weird with things. I like to try and tell a story with what I'm doing when I perform.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see it, and I guess those that aren't able to make that night, it'll be up on Facebook and YouTube shortly after the party.
Yeah, I haven't decided on a strict online release date, so this is a good preview, and we can count on the 14th.
Yep. Well, so tickets are available, I believe, through the Monocle's website, right?
Yes,
The Monocle STL.com, I think it is.
I believe that's it.
So check that out. Grab some tickets. Come out and party on Valentine's. Bring a date, or just come by yourself. Join us and have fun either way. And it'll be a really good night. And like I said, Bounce House is going to kick off the party at 9:00. So.
That they are.
And then I don't know a whole lot about them, but I did just hang out with Justin, who plays in the band. And we kind of talked about, he was telling me they're more of kind of a synth pop group and stuff, so I'm excited to check them out.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing.
So yeah, gonna be a good night. So come on out to the Monocle, which is also just a beautiful space back there. Really nice little kind of black box theater kind of experience. You know, it's just really it's gonna be a unique night for sure.
Yeah, the Emerald Room is always really nice to play. It's a gorgeous space, and I don't know. I always have a good time there.
Yeah. So. Yep. So, yeah, snag some tickets. Come on out. Which you can get involved with all things Mother Stutter at motherstutter.com and Facebook and Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So find out for more upcoming show dates and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, it's Mother Stutter everywhere.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Let's drop in another one. We did do a little bit of live jam in here in the living room with Benny. You mentioned playing guitar with us, and you played a song which is currently unreleased, titled "I'm Not Clean Anymore," right?
Yeah.
And care to share anything around this tune?
Sure. I really like to let my music speak for itself a lot, because I like people to experience it for themselves before I sort of influence it with my own story. But I'm Not Clean Anymore sort of came about when I was living in downtown St. Louis. And there's always that experience when you're in the city, for me at least, where you kind of feel lonely, surrounded by a bunch of people and surrounded by a bunch of buildings. And I started understanding things about the history of St. Louis and the red brick buildings that are sort of torn down. So I was tossing over the idea of these abandoned buildings, these ruined homes, and the double meaning in that of a house being in ruin in one way or the other. And as beautiful as the architecture is in St. Louis, there's also a lot of buildings that are falling apart, and it came from that sort of marriage of ideas of the emotional attachment to the home, and kind of being reclusive and not really going out, but sort of experiencing the city through your window.
I secrets in this city made from the bricks of
broken homes. Wrap me in the ruins of my mother and my ghost. My holy blood won't feel the pain once you split me from your bones. Here's to water wearing down a stone. I'm not clean anymore. I'm not clean anymore. Downtown, the city sirens scream while couples flood the bars, clinging on to someone warm and forgetting who they are. But I'm too numb to leave my home and face the monster I become. And there's a certain time of night that makes a body feel alone. And I'm not clean anymore. I'm not clean anymore. I lost the battle with my shadows here on 8th and Pine. I drank away the grief while watching all my plants die. You force a pain to feel something, and you tell yourself it's surviving. Truth is, I never asked to be alive. I'm not clean anymore. I'm not clean anymore. I'm not clean anymore. I'm not clean anymore.
Some pretty heavy stuff though. Like I noticed like with that even through Sweeter Skin and stuff. Like there's like a lot of pretty heavy lyrical content in some of the stuff. I mean, you know, like I said, you can kind of make up your own stories to go along with, and whatever, however it impacts you. But I feel like listening to that, like I don't know, just it's pretty emotional for sure. And even in your performance of it too, like watching you emote and your vocal styling and stuff. Like it's just like I don't know, it comes over me. You know, it's like a emotional thing sometimes when I'm listening to this stuff. So and I feel like that's what a great artist and entertainer is supposed to do. You know, kind of tell those stories that we can't always tell. Or you know, whatever. Like that's one of my favorite things about music. Whenever I hear a song and it's like, oh, they're telling my story, you know, it's like, or I connect to it on that level and stuff. So
And I think that with my music a lot, and I do recognize that I write a lot of sad songs, and I can't really control it. I try to write happier stuff every now and again, but I feel like what I'm specifically trying to do is people will automatically put themselves kind of in what you're singing, if the writing is powerful enough. And what I'm doing is trying to create a space for people to sort of grieve. And I think that in American culture especially, there's this sort of need to mask your true emotions in one way or the other. And there's so many of us suffering from mental illness or, you know, grieving a loved one that shut themselves off from everybody in their lives because it's not super accepted to be together at that time. Whereas in other cultures, you see it all the time. When you lose a loved one, the family gathers together and stays together for weeks and works through it together. And we have such rampant amount of mental illness that's happening in the country that it's so strange that we disconnect from each other in that way. So what I like to do is I want to kind of bring everybody together with my music and express that part of ourselves and say, you know, it's okay to feel bad. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're any less, and it doesn't mean we have to be afraid of you for feeling a lot of emotions or anything like that. It's okay, and it's okay to express that and let it out.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know why that. I guess it's started years and years ago, but like why people aren't people are like shamed for having issues or whatever it is and stuff. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but
I feel like it's a stigma, and it kind of evolves with our culture in this way, especially with like social media right now.
Yeah.
With social media, you see a bunch of people kind of posting that they're happy all the time, and as they say, they're putting out their highlight reel, and it just kind of makes you feel a little bit further from that. Whereas there's definitely behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And people aren't always going to share that part of themselves.
Right.
But I think it's important that we share that with each other.
Yeah. I don't know, like so my grandfather is manic depressant, and he since passed, but he struggled with it for a long time, and I think a lot of it too that he was comfortable with his doctor that he had, and was afraid to see different doctors and get the proper attention that he needed sometimes, and so I don't know. I think he struggled for a long time because of that. He wasn't medicated properly or taking care of himself in the way he needed to.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it starts with him, and then I think there's a long line of depression and stuff throughout the family, and I don't know. I feel like there's maybe some of that for me, but like music's my
release.
I think it's part of it's like that's why I live the way I do, whether I'm doing the show or going to concerts or whatever. I keep myself busy and running the whole time, because I think if I'm like just sitting around and doing nothing, like it can be a pretty dark place. So
yeah.
So for me, it's almost like I'm trying to
keep busy, keep distracted from it.
Yeah, trying to outrun my problems, kind of thing. Like
I feel I know a few people who are kind of like that, where it's keeping busy is what sort of makes them feel alive and takes them out of that depressed space.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not any doctors or whatever listening will probably say that's not healthy, but it's been working for me.
Yeah.
Music's what makes me happy, so I figured, if that's what makes me happy, then I'm gonna do that as much as I can. So
that's kind of how I feel with performing. Performing music is like this place where everything kind of comes together, and I feel sane and I feel present, and it's the only time that I really feel right. I feel I'll say I feel like 17 times, sorry. But it's definitely on stages when I'm most comfortable, and I'm not afraid of my mental illnesses and sharing it with people, because I have depression, I have panic disorder, and I have depersonalization disorder, which is you sort of leave your body and stuff. But being afraid of talking about it makes it worse. If we can't share our stories and if we can't share like, oh yeah, I have depression too, you're seeking help from this person, or trying to be scared of therapy or scared of one thing or the other that's gonna maybe help you or help someone that you love have a happier or longer life, you may as well talk about it and get it out and exercise that feeling.
Yeah.
Have people around you who you're not afraid of saying when you need help.
For sure. Yeah. I think if that were the case, if there's a lot of good people that would still be here today with us, because I think there's so many that struggled with for a long time, and then they end up taking their own life because they can't talk about it and stuff and things. So it's something we all need to talk about, It's like,
And I'm very thankful that I've had people there for me when I've been at my lowest, and there have definitely been people who I'm super thankful are alive and came to me at their lowest. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all need.
Just gotta support each other.
Yep. We all need a friend. So yeah. Let's. I think it's most I've talked about some of that stuff. Like, getting doesn't really get too serious on the show very much, but I think it's good to talk about it though. And like I said, it's all something we all connect to, we all can relate to, because if it's not us personally, yourself, I'm sure somebody in your family or somebody, there's somebody struggling with it. So,
right.
We're all affected by it, whoever we are. So, but reach out to a friend and help out. So, I wanted to kind of get to know a little bit more about what kind of stuff does Mother Stutter like to do when you're not performing? Do you like to? I know we got a big stack of records and things. I know that you go out to a lot of the record stores, or what kind of
I like to
hobbies?
shop at the record stores here and there. I don't know. I'm very I am a homebody, so I spend a lot of time just kind of bumming around my house and drinking coffee and spending time with Benny, who is the love of my life. And we're just, I don't know, music it's so strange because music is such a big part of my life that I'm always just kind of doing something related to that, where I'm, listening to records or, messing around with playing piano or playing guitar and trying to learn that, and trying to pick up a new instrument, or I go down a YouTube hole a lot of I'll watch TED Talks and different people talking about how music is written and dissecting different bands and how they formed their sound, or watching documentaries, and I'll go down a rabbit hole with that sort of stuff. Speaking of rabbit holes, I went through I got far too deep into watching conspiracy videos recently, and it was just that's one hobby of mine that isn't the healthiest.
There's some interesting ones for sure. Yeah. I actually give a shout out to if you get time to check them out sometime. But I have these buddies, Anything But Credible podcast. Yeah. And there's a segment on their show where they always talk about a different conspiracy theory of the week, and but they're quick to tell you that they don't take them very seriously. It's all they call it bro science or something like that. It's like they just kind of go at it for entertainment value. Yeah. But they kind of debate sometimes how much they believe in and how much they or if they think it's all just a joke or whatever. But there's some really interesting thoughts that come across some of the conspiracy theories that they've discussed. But anyway, I totally know what you're talking about, going down that YouTube, the lizard people and all the different things.
I find it fascinating. Yeah. Plus, I'm way too naive too. So if you deliver something to me that's just, if you believe what you're saying to me, I'm gonna be like, oh, that is the truth. Right. Oh yeah. There's definitely, the Illuminati. Beyonce is the head. Yep.
But another one for me is those Mojo videos, top 10 countdown things or whatever, all those. Yeah. Just top 10 for everything. But I watched a ton of those. Yeah, I can definitely. It's you just get sucked in, and then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, you're like, "What am I doing? where am I? So.
Yeah, I was watching him the other night and just like in the dark because I have insomnia and Benny works early in the morning, so it was like late at night before he woke up, and it's just like in the dark watching these conspiracy videos like, oh no, this is not the right moment for this. You hear like a bump in the night and it's like, oh no. And I have squirrels that will like run across my roof, and so it's just you hear like and I'm like, oh god, there's a giant alien on my roof right now. I know it. I just know it.
Yep, that's there's definitely some quality entertainment on the YouTube.
Yeah.
But when you're not searching for conspiracy theories and alien videos and different stuff, you can check out some Mother Stutter videos on there. For sweet, you did a live performance of Swedish Skin on there, right? With did you say Tim?
Yeah, I did that with Tim Gebauer a bit ago. Oh man, it has to have been about a year now at least. Benny and I actually were just trying to trade in a guitar, trying to trade guitars with him, and we were hanging out, and he's such an amazing person, so easy to talk to, and he was just like, oh, you're musicians, let me hear what you got. And so he started singing, and and Benny was playing this beautiful guitar that we actually have in the other room right now, and there's some magic in that guitar. I swear it's an old I think it's a Martin, and it's just like, so I swear there's like magic embedded in the wood. And he was just like, wait a second, let me get the microphone out. And he just started filming us doing our thing. Yeah,
it's a beautiful version of it. Just and like I love that, just that simplicity of it all. Just your vocals and guitar and one mic, and it sounded really nice. So. And
I think there's definitely something to be said about how comfortable someone makes you when you're being recorded. And with him, it was just like breathless and easy, and where it's just
he's super chill too. He just real laid back guy, and I did one podcast up there in his studio once, and with River Kittens, we had a real good time hanging out.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space too.
Yeah, so shout out to Tim.
Yeah.
That well, again we got the big video release party coming on February 14th, and then after that. What we have, I guess we'll have some more, hopefully some more new music coming soon, and
maybe we're doing a lot of traveling in March, and we've got a couple shows here in St. Louis, and we're sort of focusing on traveling around a bit over the next couple months, and hopefully we'll get you some new songs out.
Just you and Benny in the open road, huh?
Yeah.
That sounds fun. I would, and that's just that's pretty incredible though too. That your music can kind of take you around the country and the world, and getting to see some different stuff and play music for people all over, and make new fans wherever you go.
Yeah, and I love meeting new people in different cities. I love seeing everything that a city has to offer. It's nice to be able to travel with my music and be able to do that and meet amazing people everywhere I go, you know.
Yeah, I'm big on trying different local stuff too, like all the different local cuisine and things. So that's always a big one for me is trying something completely different that we don't have here in St. Louis and stuff. So
yeah, I'm definitely a food lover for sure. I like to make sure that we're hitting up some good restaurants. When we went to New York recently, and our friend Aaliyah luckily was the one to show us around the city, and she's a food blogger, and Aaliyah Rose, and so she was just like showing us the best restaurants all around New York City, and it was really nice because after our show we sort of stumbled upon a little gem that called Screamer's Pizza, and it was all vegan pizza, and I was talking to you about how much I love buffalo chicken pizza, and they had a vegan version, and I'm like 80-20. I'm a vegan most of the time, but I'll eat some cheese every now and again.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that.
Sure.
Fall off the wagon on that one sometimes.
I won't tell anybody. No.
Yeah, this is just between us, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, man, that sounds delicious. I could definitely go for some buffalo chicken pizza. Yeah, I've never made it up there to New York. I would like to make that trip one of these days and see the big city. And I hear they do serve up some tasty pie up there. So hopefully get some of that New York pizza.
New York style is my favorite pizza too.
I've been pretty big on the Chicago deep dish. We run to Chicago probably once a year.
Just for the pizza?
Well, that's half the trip at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, we'll take the Amtrak up there, and it's a nice little weekend getaway, and always tried to. I've been around Giordano's and Illuminati's and tried all the different ones, trying to.
Illuminati.
Yeah, there it is. Come full circle.
There's that conspiracy theory. Is Illuminati's part of the Illuminati?
Right. We're starting our own conspiracy theories.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't. I'd go insane if I was talking about conspiracy theories all day. If it was part of my everyday. I love Chicago. I'm not the biggest fan of their pizza. I know, which is just blasphemy, but I like a good thin piece. I love to take the Amtrak down though. Like a good train ride is.
That's fun.
It's so nice, and I always get one with a food cart, so I can just sit there and watch things go by while I write, and sometimes you meet people, which is pretty cool, and
we did
get some really bad coffee.
We went once to a Cards Cubs game, and we went. It was like 14 of us for a bachelor party, and we took Amtrak, and they loaded up a cooler full of beer, and because you're allowed to drink on the train.
Are you allowed to bring your own beer? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you're allowed to drink, but the guys also started passing around a bottle of Goldschlager.
Oh.
And back, handing it between the aisles, passing the bottle back and forth, and we had somebody from the train come up, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to put that away. Like, you're allowed to drink, but not like that. Like, you got to have it in a cup and all this stuff. We can't be passing a bottle around and all that." And so they were cool about it, but I get it. 14 guys drinking a bunch of Goldschlager, things could probably get a little weird, but
a little hectic.
Yeah. So, but it was a wild night. But like you're saying, meeting people, especially wearing Cardinal gear, we talked to everybody else. Hey, you guys going to the game, and so that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it
was fun to start talking to people. Especially when you tell them your bachelor party thing, they'd start buying us drinks and stuff too. So it was it was a fun weekend for sure.
Party train.
Yeah. So that's the way to do it. They don't have to worry about driving,
right,
and parking and all that stuff. And so that's the way to travel, I think. So
for sure.
Yeah. But hopefully Mother Stutter coming to a town near you in 2019, and keep an eye out for the calendar and more dates coming soon. Some more new music, hopefully.
For sure.
And again, get involved. You can download all this music right now on your Spotify and iTunes and wherever you're getting that stuff. So check it all out. But I really appreciate you doing this. It's been a lot of fun getting to hang, and so thank you, and thanks to Benny for helping us out.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Yeah.
And I will hopefully see you soon. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Well, yeah, that was it.